Hey guys, this is not a lighting or gun video, but I decided to make this video because I've been posting comments on barn videos and stuff that I've been watching on YouTube, and a couple people have asked me to make a video of how the structure of this barn was built. So this one is just going to be part one, probably. There might be a part two. This is going to be talking about the upper structure of the barn. The barn is 100 by 50 feet long. Short story, it was built in the 40s by the Forestry Service, and the owner of my property, who purchased this property, I guess in the 60s, or I guess was gifted it to it by his dad, because his dad owned the properties around here, bought this building from the Forestry Service in the 60s, took it apart, and moved it and rebuilt it on the land right here. So this barn is 80 plus years old. I guess 60 if you count it being rebuilt. So as a matter of fact, the workbenches that I have down here, which you may or may not be able to see, I have workbenches down there in the shop. I don't know if you can see that. See that big workbench down there? That workbench is actually uses these poles right here, or pillars, or whatever you want to call them. It uses the original ones for the barn. The barn was originally painted like a, excuse me, like a pine green. And there are some beams and pillars left over from that, but I guess the extra stuff when he rebuilt the barn, he used as a workbench or whatever. But anyway, so I know it's dark. I don't have any lights up here, but the way the barn is built is it uses real 2x4s. These are not the store-bought ones. These almost look like 3 inches, but they're 2x4s for the roof structure. You know, the ones you would get like in an actual mill. All made out of oak. And every, I want to say 25 inches or so, maybe every 2 feet, they're placed for the roof, and the roof is a corrugated tin roof. I'm not sure if it's the original roof. It probably is, because it does have a lot of rust on it on the top, and it was painted at one point with some kind of tar, I guess to keep it from rusting any further. It uses nails, and it leaks in a few spots where the nails are poking through. So some of the 2x4s are kind of getting some rot damage on them now. I'm going to actually have to get some new 2x4s from the store and brace them, put one on one side, one on the other side, in order to shore up the existing 2x4s. But it looks like, see, I don't know much about structures or design, so you're just going to have to look for yourself. But these are really big beams. I'm guessing they're probably 4x6s and maybe 5x6 actually. And because this one right down here, this span right here is 4x6, and these are bigger. So this is probably 5x6. And it looks like it uses 5x6 in an A-frame, and it uses this really thick steel pole, and it goes up on top, and I'm assuming there's a plate up there on top that sits on the top of it, and these beams hold this pole right here, which supports the center of the 4x6 that spans 50 feet across. And then the 4x6 and the 5x6, I'm guessing it's 5x6, are sitting on top of the 6x6 pillar. So the pillar is supporting these and the end of that, and because it's supporting the roof structure up here, the roof structure is supporting this metal pole, which in turn is supporting the center with all this weight, with all of these cross beams, these little 4x6 cross beams that go across. So it's interesting. It's almost like the weight of the barn is supporting itself. Does that make sense? That's what it looks like to me. So it looks like the roof is supporting the weight of the center beams from itself. It's interesting how this was designed. And the 4x6s that in the center that span 50 feet, I know a 50-foot 4x6, they actually bolted As you can see, there's multiple bolts. There's more that go across over here. They bolted 2x6s, real 2x6s, not like the store-bought ones that are not really 2.5 inches. They bolted 2x6s on both sides. So instead of being a 4x6 in the center, it's 8x6. So the center of the span is 8x6, supported by like 6 bolts, I believe, and also supported by the roof structure from these cross beams right here. Now, the outside of the barn is board and batten. So it uses, this is all oak wood. I believe it's cherry oak. So they use these oak boards for the outside, and for the slits in the middle, there's like little battens, and that's the way the barn is insulating itself to keep the wind and the weather and all of that stuff out. The roof has these little vents on the top up here, one on this side, and one way over there on the corner you can't see. Now, the floor that I'm on, and it uses a cross pattern right here. I'm not sure why there's one right here, and there's not any on the other side for all of these little support beams. There's only an X pattern right here. I'm not sure why. But you can actually see the 2x6 or 2x8 boards, I'm not sure, 2x6s, that they use to walk on when they built this. So these boards that go all the way across right here, there's 2 of them stacked on top of each other. There's more of them that go across here, and it goes all the way across. So they use that to walk across the span of this when they were working. Now, I'm 280 pounds, and I'm not going to be stepping on this. So, yeah. So as you can see, the rest of the barn is built just like I showed you. Some of these boards are actually not 6x6s, or sorry, the pillars are not 6x6s. Some of them are 8x8. So we got a 6x6 over here. There's another 6x6 on the corner over here. There's another 6x6 behind the fireplace. But this one in the center is actually 8x8, and it has 2x4s nailed on each side. So one here, one there, one there. So it's like 10x10. There's another 8x8 over here, and then it goes 6x6, 6x6. So I'm not sure why there's 8x8 directly in the middle of the barn. I don't think there's any more weight over here. It all looks the same as everything else. Now, I don't know who built this second level here. The boards look different compared to the rest of the barn. They're pine. And it's a simple, flooring structure, pine boards spaced every, I want to say 16 inches. And it used old, I guess, oak and pine boards for the flooring. And then they stored all their crap up here. So it's probably the original owner, because the crap for the barn, like the drywall and the insulation, is all thrown up here. Now, the only problem with this second floor up here is it's actually sitting on top of the structure that supports the roof, or the whole barn. So this 4x6 or 12x6 with these extra boards is actually being supported, or actually is supporting the second floor. Now, the problem with this is, especially over here, with all this weight on top of here, this stuff is really heavy, the drywall and all of that insulation. And the insulation is a tar insulation. It's like a tar wrap, as you see right here, so it's heavy. And so he used like a tar wrap and a foam. I guess that's what they used in the 60s. I don't know. And it's all thrown up here. And the problem is, with the weight up here, it's actually sagging the 4x6 span. It's not sagging in the center, but it is sagging right here. From the pillar to the center, the middle of this beam is sagging. So unfortunately, this 50-foot span cannot support the weight of a second floor, especially right here. You probably could support it if you put a pillar in the center, going from here down to the ground. But unfortunately, there's only some of these pillars in certain spots of the barn. So there's a pillar, you cannot see it. I don't know if you can see it. Let me try to turn my phone. Do you see that little beam right here? That pillar right there? It's like a circle pillar, and it actually goes down into concrete, and it sits directly under this. Now, unfortunately, there's only some of those on this. So There's one here, and then there's one over here on the end of the barn. And then there's one right over there against this wall, but there's none here. There's not one right here. There's not one in the center of the workshop. So I don't know why he put pillars in some spots and not the other spot to support the center of this, especially with all this weight right here. So this is a 50-foot beam, the 4x6 that I'm standing directly under, and it's sagging right here, and like I said, it's sagging over here as well. So it's actually dropped by about 1.5 inches. That kind of sucks, and it makes me a little worried about this barn when it comes to the droop. Because when it's drooping like that, you see the split right here where the two boards or the two beams are connected to each other. Well, on the part where it's sagging, the gap right here is actually, you can almost stick your pinky finger in there, and that's how much it's bent. So what I plan to do is get my auger out, because I don't want to tear down the second floor. That's going to be too much work. I'm going to get my auger out, and I'm going to dig in the dirt, because there's actually, this is all dirt right here. It's like a poured, sifted fine dirt that was dumped in the barn. And I'm actually going to dig my auger probably 3 feet down and fill it with concrete, like in a bucket with a pillar. And I'm going to put a pillar right here and a pillar right here. Probably a 6x6, maybe a 4x4, I'm not sure. Probably 6x6, just to be sure. And that way, the center of the 50-foot span, or the half center, you know, where the light would be, because this is where it's sagging, like right here. I'm going to do that to here, and probably that corner over there to support the second floor better. The only problem with doing that is I'm going to have a pillar. So let's just pretend this side and this side is flipped, you know, over here. So this is the second floor up here. I'm going to put a pillar where that light is, a pillar where the light is over here to support this half span. But yeah, the only problem with doing that is it's kind of be in the way of, like, you know, walking or driving a car in here or whatever. But fortunately, I don't have like 10 cars, so I don't need to park, you know, like 8 cars or 6 cars or whatever in the center of the barn. I just use it for storage. So yeah, so once I do that, the second floor should be a lot better. I need to get all this junk and this weight off of here as well. And I probably will finish it, because you can actually see he didn't finish it right here. You can see the joists, the one joist here, the one joist there, all these joists up here. The second floor was not finished. So once I support it better, maybe I'll finish it. I'm not sure. But right now I don't have a use for the second floor. So I hope this video was kind of insightful on how the barn was built. Again, it's an 80-year-old barn. You don't really see these anymore. Typically, the 80-year-old barns are falling apart, or they're not standing anymore. But thankfully, because this one was taken apart and rebuilt in the 60s, it's been standing pretty well. Like I said, there's just a few things I need to fix, and of course, the very tip of the roof is using a 2x4, which is interesting. Just like the roof structure that's, you know, the 2x4s that support the tin roof. I don't know why he used 2x4s in the very top. I guess that's all it needed was a 2x4. But anyway, maybe I'll make part 2, so watch for that.